Hi, I've been thinking for a long time about whether or not I should do the Booktube Newbie Tag. Eventually, I decided that I'll give it a go. Can't hurt. So this is my Booktube Newbie Tag video. So got a lot of questions here. We'll take them one by one. Question number one: why did you start this channel? Well, I started this channel because I want to connect to other like-minded people. I don't have a lot of book-loving friends in the real world. It's sort of a way to plug in to a community. And even though I feel like I'm sort of way out of my depth, and I worry that this is all gonna feel pretty cringy later, I also believe in sort of taking risks and just putting yourself out there a little bit, seeing what happens. All right, next question. What are some things you hope to bring to BookTube? I love the classics. I love sort of doing. Uh, I love thinking about how books can inform my life or other people's lives in sort of a somewhat practical way. I love asking questions like, why is this book great, and trying to take that question very seriously, even though it's a really hard question to answer most of the time. Why do you read books? Okay, that's a tough question. Why do I read books? Um, I don't know why I read books. I guess to me, a lot of things come down to anxiety about death. There's sort of this expiration date at the end of everything I do, and in the short time that I have, you want to explore, you want to read, you want to learn about different lives and different experiences as a way of just sharpening the imagination, sharpening the mind, and posing tough questions about our life and what is meaningful and what matters and death, sort of just grappling with the fear, with the anxiety of the eventual death. Um, yeah, also maybe there's sort of like this Borgesian sense that I sometimes feel like, I feel like a character in a book sometimes. There's sort of this parallelism where um, books are fictional worlds that we get access to, and sometimes the world that I live in feels constructed and fictional in a weird way. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question or not, but that's sort of thoughts that come to mind. Your favorite Brandon Sanderson book? Yeah, unfortunately, I have not read any Brandon Sanderson, so you have to pass on that one. Okay. If you were stranded on a desert island and you could only take one book with you, would it be the complete works of Shakespeare or the Holy Bible? My answer to that question is neither. Um, I would have to go with the complete works of Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky is one of my favorite writers. You might complain that you've never seen the complete works of Fyodor Dostoevsky, and I would say you're right. I haven't either. But that's my answer to the question anyway. All right. Next question. What is your favorite quote from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet? Um, two come to mind. He has like a really beautiful quote about children. I forget exactly how it goes, but something like children are uh, they're not yours. They like something you have to like take responsibility for, but they don't belong to you. It's really beautiful. And then also a quote I think about a lot from the Prophet is uh, Khalil Gibran talking about charity, and he says, don't ask if the poor person is deserving of your charity. The trees don't ask who's deserving of our fruits, and the air doesn't ask who's deserving to breathe. There's something very natural in his writing, like charity is something which is like essential for living. You have to give charity, and he says, ask that you're worthy to give. Don't ask if they're worthy to receive. Do you believe in God? I'm gonna skip that question. Too personal. Sorry. What would you do if confronted with the trolley problem? Yes, the trolley problem. The trolley problem is when you have like the trolley coming down and it's gonna hit one guy on the tracks, but if you like pull a lever, it's gonna hit. Oh, I got it backwards. Right, there's like three guys on the tracks. The trolley's gonna kill three people, but if you pull a lever, it will change over to a different track and only kill one person. So the question is, do you pull the lever? Um, I'd have to go with no. I think I don't really know. Um, but I think probably the right answer is to pull the lever. I think that's the courageous thing to do. Uh, but it's the hardest thing to do. I think I would panic. I think if I did pull the lever, I'd probably suffer severe PTSD, even worse than the PTSD I would suffer from watching three people get killed by a trolley. Um, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. All right, next. What is Harold Bloom's worst take? Hmm. Yeah, I like Harold Bloom. He's one of these like great, literary critics and writers. But yeah, he's got some weird takes. His like take on the Zohar is a little weird to me. He's really into the Zohar. Sometimes he just like puts some piece of like poetry out there, which is probably very critically acclaimed and everything. And he's like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever read." Harold Bloom says that, and I sort of read it. I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about. Doesn't really resonate with me at all. So yeah, I don't really have a good answer to that one either. All right, next question. How do you reconcile belief in God with the apparent evil in the world? Yeah, the problem of evil. Uh, I'm gonna skip that one. All right. Favorite moment from Bob Dylan's 1965 San Francisco press conference. Yeah, there were a lot of great moments in that press conference for sure. One of my favorite ones was like when the guy asked him, "Where is Desolation Row?" And Bob Dylan, I think he said it's like a place, a city in Mexico or something, or some place in Mexico. I thought that was super funny. But that was like a really interesting press conference. Okay, what is the most unintelligible Michel Foucault sentence you ever read? There are way too many unintelligible Michel Foucault sentences to enumerate. I have no idea what the most unintelligible one is. If you open one at random, you'll probably find it pretty unintelligible. Was Chuck Phalinuik's Fight Club a harbinger for the modern anti-SJW alt-right politics? That's a really interesting question, actually. Um, on the one hand, there is like no real racism in Fight Club. There's like not even misogyny as far as I can remember. At least nothing really visible. And of course, like the anti-SJW movement is really focused on these questions of race, like who's the racist, and uh, the accusations of misogyny are very important. But I feel like he did really tap into something very profound about like white male anger, rage, this sense of like disillusionment at the world, this sort of turn towards fascism even. So yeah, I feel like there's something there to that question. I don't really know. It's complicated. I have to revisit the book. It's been a long time since I read that book or seen the movie. Um, what's on your TBR? So the truth is, I have a lot of nonfiction on my TBR. I feel like there's a lot of holes in my knowledge, especially about history. So a lot of books about European history, even American colonial history, uh, more ancient history like Roman history. These are things that are on my TBR right now. Where do you go to discuss books with other people? So yeah, my answer to that is Caravan. There's a website called Caravan for like online book clubs. What is your favorite work of Christian apologetics? So I've only really read two works of Christian apologetics. I've only really read C.S. Lewis's The Problem of Pain and G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy. I would have to go with C.S. Lewis in that case. What was your greatest concert experience? The answer to that is hands down Pharmacon. Saw her live, blew my mind. What is your greatest fear? So yeah, I mean, most of my fears come from having a kid, just anxiety about his future and his well-being. It's like, as Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik said, in the context of fear of God, I feel that about fatherhood. It's like this one fear which is like so intense and so consuming that it like minimizes and like obviates and like sort of removes you from all other fears. Beyond that, I'm terrified of global warming and the future of our planet. But yeah, nothing to add to that. Universal love or personal love? I don't even know what that means, to be honest. There are a few more questions here, but I'm gonna stop here for now. Hopefully, that's enough questions for my Booktube Newbie Tag. Thanks for watching. feel free to check out some of the videos on my channel. I hope to be making more in the future. Thanks a lot.